Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 10th, 2025 meeting of the Metuchen Borough Council. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Said notice was published in the Home News Tribune on December 18th, 2024, published in Borough Hall and on file in the clerk's office. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. And to join us today, to lead us all in the flag salute, we're really, really lucky to have two of Metuchen's brightest with us, Julia and Connor Sukan, who are here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And just of note, Connor was just named Student of the Month at Edgar Middle School, which is really wonderful. And Julia is still a student at Campbell, but she'll be at Edgar soon enough, but not too soon, right, Mom and Dad? Okay, so Julia and Connor, you can just lead us. You can stand up in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, kids. Roll call, please. Ms. Supan.
Councilmember Jamboy?
Here.
Councilmember Hyman?
Here.
Councilmember Jethwani?
Here.
Councilmember Kendall?
Here.
Council President Delia?
Here.
Mayor Bush?
Here. Do I have a motion to open the agenda session?
I make a motion to open the agenda session.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anything for the agenda session? Council members, council president?
Nothing for me,
Anybody?
Mayor.
Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to close it?
I make a motion to close the
There's
agenda session.
been a motion to close the agenda session. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we have a report tonight. I see bright neon jackets here from our Metuchen EMS. If you could just give your name and your role on behalf of the EMS and your report, we'd appreciate it.
Hi, hello. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Pragya Bhatia. My address is 12 Tracy Lane, Edison, New Jersey. I'm a junior at Edison High School. I'm 16. I joined Metuchen EMS in September 2024, and I've taken around 20 911 calls. My older sister, Gari, is also a member of the squad, but she's currently studying at the University of Pittsburgh. I'm here tonight to present the Metuchen EMS Summer Report for 2024. We took 370 calls in 2024, which is the most since 2015. In June, we had our busiest month in more than 8 years. We had 48 different members participate on calls, with an average of 27 participants each month. Also, like 2023, many of these calls were in Edison. After the summer, 2 experienced members left us for medical school, and another experienced member moved to Connecticut. This left us without crew chiefs, but we have now trained 3 members to take on this responsibility, and we are back to covering 6 or 7 nights each week. Generally, our recruitment has been going well. We recruited or trained 8 new EMTs last year, which is well above our attrition rate. We have a waiting list of 4 college students, mostly from Rutgers, and we're planning to bring on 2 new adult members who live in Metuchen or Edison and who are not students. Besides 911 calls, we also support community events, and since our last report, we covered the holiday parade. We would like to remind everyone watching or listening that we are a volunteer organization and we do not charge for our service. If we take a patient to a hospital, it is free. However, we cannot do that without the generous support of our Metuchen residents. We are grateful to all the residents that sent us a contribution for our 2024 fund drive. We look forward to your continued support. If there are any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Padia. Any questions for Ms. Padia?
No, just really well done.
Yeah. I know you said it. I just picked up the fact that you're 16. What grade are you in at EHS?
I'm a junior, so 11th
Junior.
grade.
Very, very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, really impressive. Our EMS sure knows how to pick their members. We appreciate it. Anything from you, Peter, at this time? Okay. See none, any questions? None? Okay. Thank you very much for the update. We appreciate that. Okay. At this time, we'll move on to public comment. Any comments from the public? Please come to the microphone. Anyone? Just name and address for the record, please. Mr. Kitsko.
Yes, Stephen Kitsko. I live at 131 Hazelwood Avenue in Metuchen. And I'm here to talk, make some observations, and I do have a question about one of my favorite topics is our white elephant on Main Street, the Forum. First of all, I want to publicly thank the council for finally having a public information session. They were very good last week, and well, Jim Constantine at Looney Ricks and Kiss does a good job. And it was very informative because, I mean, my opinion, 6 years too late, but better late than never. And the acknowledgement that we have to raise, R-A-Z-E, the forum, in order to raise up, R-A-I-S-E, a new building that will be economically sustainable. So I'm glad the council has finally recognized that, and even though you had your first from Web Development Services report that said that this current existing building wasn't sustainable back in early 23. So that's good news on that. I also publicly want to thank you for the political courage of going to the American Legion last week and talking to them. I don't speak for them, this is my opinion, but going in the lion's den, so to speak, because there's a lot of distrust for what the Metuchen Democrats have done to the Legion in the past. So I really salute you for that, and just being very candid and upfront and explaining, your promise that as long as you are mayor, that the Legion is going to stay there where they're at right now. So they appreciated that. I mean, several of the Legion members told me that. But they're also skeptical of what happens when you go on to bigger and better things in state government or federal government. The next mayor, if that promise is no longer valid. So they're skeptical that way. But I also want to say, you said at the meeting it's going to take $30 million to build this new forum from all the plans. And that's a factor of 10 from the free forum that we got for $3.5 million grant. So just, you have a future in the Pentagon. It's pricing things. But the thing that I'm most pleased to hear that you said at that meeting was that the borough is not going to be bonding any of the working capital to build the building, in that it will be from one of the county agencies that's going to do that. So I really think that, because my biggest issue with the forum is that it's a liability on the taxpayers of Metuchen. And as soon as it's no longer on that, and that's related to that, Council President Delia, were chatting at the meeting last week, and he said that we have to build, because of economic development grants cannot be given to a government entity, a 501c3 corporation is being formed, and that's who will, quote, own the forum. And I'm glad to hear that. I suggested that several years ago, and I'm glad to see that that is being taken into account. So my questions revolve around, what's the timeline? I know we have to, quote, condemn the gas station so that the borough technically owns it. And then once happens, I don't know the status of when will the 501c3 go live. So then I don't know the legal procedure of gifting the forum property to the new 501c3. So that is my question. What's the estimated time of doing that, and we're going to see some progress on that? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kitsko. There's a lot to unpack in a number of the things that you said. I'll try to summarize them into certain answers. And if I don't get back to you on everything that you said, we can certainly talk about it some other time, but publicly, at least the matters I think of greatest public interest. I appreciate you acknowledging my trip to the Legion, who are always very welcoming to me, in spite of occasional, just like any other public environment that you put yourself into when you're a public office holder, in spite of occasional differences of opinion, they were very welcoming, and I appreciate you being in the audience that day. I think it was last Tuesday, so it would be a week ago tomorrow. The discussion we had was, was certainly firm with respect to the Legion. There's no threat to the Legion in any way. We're going to make sure to accommodate, continue to ensure the Legion's future in that space. But I do want to correct your categorization of the fact that the Legion was moved by, Metuchen Democrats. It was moved by the borough as a result of the circumstances related to the Woodmont property at Pearl Street. So that's an important distinction. It was obviously a government decision well before almost all of us, certainly before my time as mayor, were here. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. The other thing I want to address is that what I said to the Legion was my sense, based on our description of, or based on the amount of work that's been done in build-up relative to the theater. There's been a lot of work done, because you don't just take possession of something and immediately transform it. You and I have gone over this over the years. I know apparently we have a difference of opinion, but you don't just jump into something like a theater. It's got to be deliberative. It's got to be careful, especially given the financial constraints that a place like Metuchen, as a government, has, and we got to make sure that we do it right. And so the deliberation that's taken this amount of time is to ensure that we do this, but not at any detriment to the taxpayers, at least the municipal taxpayers. The money that would come to us from other places is tax dollars, but they're tax dollars that would be sent to other places in New Jersey, or, in the case of federal money, although there's no federal money here, thank God, right now. But there would be sent somewhere else, either in New Jersey or elsewhere. We want to make sure that we keep as much of our tax money that we pay to government sources right here in Metuchen. And so thankfully, that's going to be happening with the theater. More specific details with respect to the theater are going to be announced publicly as soon as a lot of the information that was shared with us at those information sessions, were not just one. There were 2 sessions. There will be, tomorrow will be 2 weeks of the Tuesday. So 2 weeks ago, Tuesday and Thursday, we did 2 nights intentionally because this is a big project and it's important to a lot of people for a lot of reasons. And so over the course of those 2 days, we received a lot of information. That information is being sifted as we speak. And some stuff we're going to be able to really take into account and possibly incorporate into the project. Other things aren't going to be able to be incorporated. It's just the nature of any project. You're going to have opinions that in some cases even bump into each other. But the most, for the most, is always our concept here in government, and we want to do our best we can for the most. And we'll be able to announce that sometime in the next few weeks, we hope, so that we can get going, because the EDA program that you described, which this borough helped write, which is really amazing, that we're going to be able to, not just here in Metuchen, but other community arts projects throughout New Jersey are going to have, tax credit money attributed to them. We're going to make sure that we get into the filing deadline, I should say the filing opening, which is an application process that we've got to be a part of. Just like when you apply to anything, there's a date when it opens and a date when it closes, and there's a set amount of money. We want to make sure that the borough has an opportunity, obviously, in that span of time. So there's that. The condemnation of the gas station has nothing to do with our construction of a theater. It's next door, and we hope will be an accessory to the theater as part of a larger arts district. I know you don't always like to hear that word or that term, arts district. That's, we've talked about that over the years, but the reality is that over the next decade and decades in the future in the borough is going to be a central and key component to any arts district that we ultimately have. The theater will be a linchpin, a key point, a centerpiece of the theater, of the arts district. We got to get the theater built first before we do anything else. And the condemnation proceedings are going to take a little bit of time. Typically, that whole process takes about a year. And the wonderful person sitting to my left and to your right, immediate right, will kick me if I give any specific timelines on anything. But that's generally how we operate here. We like to give general time spans, and a year is what I'm told by our attorneys with respect to condemnation. But there are exceptions earlier and later for that as well. So that's the most I can do to answer the most, I think, of your questions and comments for now. If there are other things, we can certainly talk in the future. Next comment. Name and address for the record, please.
Mark Flaherty, 44 New York Avenue. So at the last meeting, we discussed generally the idea of responding to potential actions by the presidential administration. And so I wanted to follow up at this meeting and find out what specifically, and these questions are for not just the mayor, but for all of the members of the council, what specifically did residents say were their concerns about what the presidential administration might do? And then now that the council and the mayor has had time to plan and meet, what are some of the specific responses that you're planning?
Is that your only question?
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Flaherty. I'm going to answer that question very directly, and I'll tell you that we have about 5 federally funded projects in process, whether it be the Main Street pedestrian grant, whether we have the bike lane. There's the project for the Edgar Middle School parking lot, which is in terrible shape. Federal monies that, just a week and a half ago, the president announced plans to stop all federal funding to all projects, infrastructure projects. And although that's now stayed by a federal court, this is incredibly, nerve-wracking language for local office holders, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, it doesn't matter. If you have projects that you're trying to deliver for your communities, those are the types, just the tip of the iceberg of the kinds of, rhetoric and language we've been hearing out of Washington, and not just from the president, but in general. And there's concern, because we do our very best here to supply and do the best we possibly can in terms of services for our community. And when there's, rhetoric and saber rattling from Washington, no matter the party, it does have an impact on residents. It does cause people anxiety, and it's our responsibility to respond to that. Any other comments or questions? Any comments from the public? All these people here, only 2 came to talk? You sure? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to close public participation.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Borough Council meeting minutes of January 1st, 2025.
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We are now going to open our public hearing on the Metuchen Downtown Alliance budget. Anyone looking to address the budget? We gave a presentation, or there was a presentation from an executive director at the last meeting, I believe. The meeting before, I'm sorry, 2 meetings ago. Anyone looking to address the public on the MDA budget? The microphone is yours. Just name it, I know you gave it already, but name and address for the record, please.
Stephen Kitsko, 131 Hazelwood Avenue.
you.
Just out of curiosity, in terms of MDA, I know their authority and the relationship to the borough. Question, are they allowed to, I should have had this as a follow-up from my first comment, to request through the borough to ask the state for a traffic study for Main Street, simply because with the Forum project, Main Street's a county road, Amboy Avenue's a county road, and Woodbridge Avenue's a county road, and Middlesex Avenue is a state road. To do a traffic study to increase the flow of traffic, because with the new building in the Arts District, their volume is one thing, but you will at least want to get a throughput. And that's something I was told by an engineer who does a lot of state projects, that the Borough Council has to request the study. So that is related to the MDA, because Main Street, has to be developed. But is that part of any plans? And if it's not, can the MDA or request to the council to request to the state to do a traffic study for Main Street to increase, the volume is there, but to increase the throughput is basically why.
Thank you. Is that your only comment?
That's my question,
Okay.
comment.
Okay. And I mean, we'll allow it certainly, and I didn't stop you, but this is supposed to be with respect to the budget itself. So I'll answer that question.
Is there a line item in the budget for?
Okay, fine. So you modified, accepted, that's fine. I'll accept that. To answer your question, we always do traffic studies on the borough. We require the developers of any circumstance to do traffic studies, and we obviously we use our planners to do traffic
By the
studies.
state agency itself? That's my question, point of information.
Well, I don't have any specific, I mean, we're talking about a theoretical traffic study, but I will tell you that any development that would happen anywhere in the borough, or development that we've happened in the last, even well before I've been mayor, there's always been a traffic study done, because the borough could not even remotely take responsibility for a project, especially the scale and scope of some of the projects that have happened in Metuchen, without embarking in a traffic study. And typically, we provide those traffic studies to state officials or county officials or others to make sure that the project meets various requirements. So it's sort of a theoretical comment, but I will say that the MDA itself, I don't think would be asking for a traffic study, although they certainly could ask for a traffic study. The borough is the one who would initiate that typically of development, and as a result, the developers who are doing those developments. Any other comments on the MDA budget? That one got into the MDA budget category at the nick of time there, Mr. Kitsko. Okay, seeing none, we're going to close the hearing on the budget. Council President?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to finalize the adoption of the 2025 MDA budget.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any comments on the MDA budget from anyone before we just vote? Council President, anything?
Nothing besides what we talked about at the last, 2 meetings ago when we had it. It was really good to hear from Executive Director to discuss everything that the MDA has done over the last year plus. And I'm really happy to make a motion on this budget.
Okay, so does anybody other any comments? Okay. Seeing none, I think we let the record on that speak for itself. It was a bit of a love fest 2 meetings ago, whenever that was, whenever it was presented, and Melissa already.
I wasn't here.
You weren't here,
No,
okay.
I missed the Love Fest.
Was that the MDA Love Fest? Whatever, there was one recently.
With the truck, it was the free parking.
Right, with the free
Yeah.
parking discussion, right? We had
Free
business
parking.
owners then. We seem to have a number of business owners now, so thank you to all of you. In many ways, the MDA isn't just a special improvement district, but and I never imagined this in that first meeting, I think in 2016 as a resident. I've said this before, I was standing against that wall because there were all the seats in this place were taken. But in many ways, it's like it's an association. It's an advocacy association on behalf of our downtown. Through the highs and lows, the idea that there's a group of business owners that make up an organization that's committed to ensuring that the downtown is doing what it needs to do and is in line with the taxpayers and the government objectives is incredibly important. And just seeing so many faces here today is heartwarming, obviously, to show the support for the MDA. We certainly appreciate all your work that you've done over the years. I see some volunteers here, or at least one volunteer, number of volunteers. But I do think that you have and I said this to someone recently, I think that the MDA, and I hope that other organizations in town don't get too upset, has one of the largest volunteer corps of any, besides the PTO and some of the rec leagues and things like that, one of the largest volunteer corps in the whole borough. So we certainly appreciate all your work and being here tonight. I'm sure none of you are being compensated for it. So thank you for your hard work. Okay, with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We don't need a roll call for that, huh?
I don't think so.
Okay, great. For the record, all were in favor. Great. No no's. Perfect. Communications consent agenda. Council President?
I make a motion to approve communications consent agenda items A through C.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mayor, Ms. Dubin, would you please read ordinance 2025-03 by title only?
Ordinance 2025-03. Ordinance of the Borough of Metuchen authorizing execution of a rights-of-way agreement between the Borough of Metuchen and Comcast of New Jersey II, LLC, to permit the installation, use, and maintenance of cable television and telecommunications facilities within public rights-of-way for purposes of providing cable television and telecommunications services.
All right. This is a good one. Some of these ordinances don't affect us as much as this one may. For those of you who like cable and internet in your house, we're going to open the public hearing on ordinance 2025-03. This will ultimately potentially allow Comcast to open lines here in Metuchen, which is a big deal. It'll help for competition and other things. That's my comment on this. Anyone want to speak on 2025-03? No? Okay, we're going to close public hearing on 2025-03. Council President?
Mayor, before I make a motion, if I could just, I thank them through email, but the TV and Technology Committee had worked on this when I was the liaison, when I first started on council, which is crazily 6 years ago, or 7 years ago, I suppose. that was one of the things that I had brought to them as I would love to have a different option in town. And we tried a number of different ways. We looked at community broadband. We looked at finding a way to get a smaller provider, one that services the sort of northwest area of New Jersey called Planet Networks. So to finally be to a point where I'm about to say this, I'm really excited. I'm really happy that all those people that helped me along the way were able to see this happen. So I'd like to make a motion to pass ordinance 2025-03 on second reading and publish according to law.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
You know, for all these conversations, all the work that volunteers do, sometimes it feels like you're sort of yelling into the clouds, but once in a while, something pops up, and all the advocacy work over the years, I think it was a state of the state address, or a state budget address of the governor's 2 years ago, where there was someone who I met who was associated with Comcast, and I talked to them about a prior meeting we had just attended at TV and Technology. And it sort of started the ball rolling, and then it took a while to get the meeting, but you finally do, and eventually these things materialize. And it's really awesome that this is happening. And thanks, I'll say to you, Jason, thank you for your hard work on this. I know for a long time, we were just busy trying to convince people, no, there's no such thing as a monopoly in this business. Another provider could come, but they have to want to.
Yep.
And finally, it's making sense for them, I guess. So we have the motion in the second. Roll call, please. Ms. Zupan.
Councilmember Jamboy?
Yes.
Councilmember Hyman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jethwani?
Yes.
Councilmember Candell?
Yes.
Council President Delia?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Okay, Borough Administrator report?
No, we have another ordinance.
Yeah, you have an introduction.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, God, well, the chief is here. I'm just trying to see if he's paying attention. This is a police introduction. I apologize, chief.
Ms. Zupan, could you please read ordinance 2025-04 by title only?
Ordinance 2025-04, ordinance amending Chapter 37 of the Code of the Borough of Metuchen entitled Police Department to amend the composition of the police department and the promotional and appointment process.
Okay, Council President?
I move that ordinance 2025-04 be passed on first reading, published according to law, in a public hearing set down for Monday, March 3rd, 2025.
All right. There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, this is another exciting one, which we can talk more about at the next meeting, but this is the potential to sort of reorganize our police department to allow for more traffic enforcement and pedestrian safety and some of the hard community, police work that this chief and under his leadership, this department is doing. And so, if we can move this forward, obviously it's a first reading, but this would be very, very helpful with respect to that goal. So with that, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Jamboy?
Yes.
Councilmember Hyman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jethwani?
Yes.
Councilmember Candell?
Yes.
Council President Delia?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Now, the Borough Administrator report.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone, a potential another storm is coming, and I just want to remind all of our residents that it is your responsibility to shovel your sidewalks. I've had a lot of complaints today, so I just want to remind everyone that it is your responsibility 12 hours after the snowstorm is completed and finished that you need to shovel your sidewalks. We have a very busy pedestrian with the train station and everything that please be considerate, help your neighbors if you have someone who's elderly. Just a reminder, because I think snow's coming in tomorrow night. Shouldn't be a lot, but, whatever it is, please make sure that you clean your walkways. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President Delia?
Thank you, Mayor. Traffic and Transportation will be meeting on this Wednesday at 7 o'clock in Borough Hall. So that meeting is coming up and looking forward to meeting with those folks. And the Metuchen Downtown Alliance had their annual meeting 2 weeks ago where they elected some new executive board members. We had someone from the NJEDA presenting a program to get businesses in town free website development done, which was really well received, and we had a nice chance to mingle and network. So it was a really great meeting. A lot of people I'm seeing in the audience were there, so nice to see you all again. And that's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Candell?
Yeah, just one brief comment that the Pool Commission is meeting tomorrow night at 7:30 at Borough Hall, and other than that, I have no report tonight.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Jethwani?
Thank you. Just a couple of notes. The
Library is continuing with the strategic planning effort, so I would just remind folks, if you haven't done your survey responses, please just get on the library website and respond to that. We're hoping to get robust responses and some good ideas there. Also, related to the strategic plan, there will be a town hall event on for the library on Wednesday, February 26th, from 6:30 to 8, to participate in conversations about the future of the library. So please come, make your voice heard at that event. On Tuesday, February 25th, from 7 to 8 p.m., the library will host an event on Black History profiles in the Metuchen area, presented by the Metuchen Edison Historical Society, and registration is encouraged for that. And just note that the Library Board of Trustees meeting will be tomorrow, Tuesday at 7 p.m. in the library community room. And a reminder that the library will be closed next Monday, February 17th, for President's Day. And then just a final note, the Historic Preservation Committee's next meeting is on Thursday, February 27th at 7:30 at Borough Hall. That's all I have, Mayor.
Great, thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Hyman?
Yes, good evening, thank you. The Parade Commission, again, the Memorial Day Parade will be Monday, May 26th at 10 a.m. And as I mentioned in our last meeting, where the commission has agreed on the theme of Hometown Heroes, complementing the celebration of Metuchen's 125th anniversary on March 20th. They're contacting art teachers and getting ready for the art contest. I did want to say, I want to encourage groups out there to join the parade. Start thinking now about how you might join the parade and celebrate with us. Get an idea going, get a theme going, start asking people if they want to be part of it, and also plan to attend the parade. It should be a really special one this year. It's always special, but we are celebrating the 125th, so that's going to be extraordinary. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, February 18th at 7:15 p.m. here at Borough Hall. The CARES Committee will hold a special event for recruiting participants in the Strengthening Families program. This program was initially scheduled to be January and February, but we had suspend the program due to scheduling issues. So on Thursday, February 20th, 5:30 to 8 p.m., we will hold an event at the Senior Center, which will be an opportunity to feature descriptions of the program by the counselors. We'll have previously participated families there to answer questions and describe how successful it was, what a good time they had during the program. Dinner will be served, if that encourages you to attend. And there will be a question and answer opportunity. The program is for families with children aged 10 to 14, so please join us and share information with friends. Tell friends that might be interested in the program. Our next CARES Committee meeting is Thursday, March 13th at 7:15 p.m. here at the Borough Hall. The next Board of Health meeting will be Wednesday, March 12th, 7:30 here at Borough Hall. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Councilmember John Boy.
Okay. The Shade Tree Commission met last week, and the spring planting will be scheduled for early spring, possibly March. And also a couple of the commission members are checking on the trees that were planted in the fall to assess their condition and, see how the trees are doing. Also, there will be an Arbor Day celebration in April, and the details will be forthcoming. The Senior Commission will be meeting this Wednesday at 4 p.m. I guess weather, allowing us to meet at 4 p.m. at the Senior Center. And also, there's other events going on. On February 19th, it's a Wednesday, the Senior Center will be closed because they're going to Uncle Giuseppe's Market. And there's still time, I think, to sign up for it. So if you're a member of the Senior Center, you could get in on that trip up to Uncle Giuseppe's. It's like a tongue twister. Anyway, also they have really great things going on. They have ceramics and some exercise and bridge on Mondays. Tuesday, there is bingo featuring moi, calling the bingo numbers, and it's a lot of fun.
a selling point.
Yeah, I'm trying to get people out there. And then Zumba at 11 o'clock. And also on Wednesdays, weather permitting, Wendy has a walk around and she'll take a group of seniors. There's mahjong and also some line dancing. On Thursday, there's cards. They have an art class there. You can sign up and come there. They also have the bus to Tano Mall. And on Fridays, they have a Rumi Cube, and they also go to Target, and they have some chair yoga, among other things. But just check the website, go on to where the newsletter is, and there's all kinds of information about what's going on at the senior center. And very last, but certainly not least, is the First Presbyterian Food Bank. Please continue to support them with your donations. They are always in need of canned meats, canned fish and fruits, personal hygiene items which are not covered by SNAP, and peanut butter and jelly and cereal are just some of the needs. But anything that you can donate is certainly appreciated, and that's my report.
Thank you, council member, and thanks for the comedy relief.
Yeah, you know, we need a little comedy relief, so
We do.
why not?
I don't disagree with that. Two things. One, I want to thank our Office of Emergency Management, specifically our chief, who allows me to bug him no matter where he is, no matter what he's doing, when I start asking weather-related questions. And it's great because he's always level with me. He really stays on top of it and helps me out. And his wife, I think, gets a particular laugh out of it when they're on, could be doing something social, and I've got them tied up on questions of inches and DPW preparedness and all that kind of stuff. But I'll just say that DPW has been amazing. They've worked really, really hard. They have very, very specific plans for each of these storms. They're always tailored to the circumstances with which we're presented. As the borough administrator said, we really do have to be careful about our own sidewalks. It was a wacky storm yesterday because it didn't quite, accumulate from a snow standpoint, but the ice made it very, very, treacherous. And and by the way, anyone who shoveled knows how heavy it was, even though it wasn't particularly deep. So those are also dangerous for other reasons. And it's another reminder for us as community members to make sure that we look after our neighbors, that if we have someone who's elderly or disabled, if we can, do their sidewalk for them or help them with their driveway or get in and out of the house. That stuff is really important in communities like everywhere, but we have the ability to really support each other in communities like this. So thank you again to all those of you who've gotten us through that. And it sounds like it's just the beginning, no pun intended, the tip of the iceberg with respect to, everybody's saying funny things tonight, if I do say so myself. All right, and with respect to the Forum Theater project, which was raised earlier during public comment, really, really good engagement from the community. We had collectively almost 250 people who attended over 2 nights. And, we debated whether having 1 or 2 nights is good. Last time when we did this with Galton, we had a few people tell us, I couldn't make it that night. Could you have it over 2? It's a big deal to get all those experts out. We had attorneys and development experts. We had the state EDA came out, the Economic Development Authority, had a representative each night. We had the County Arts Initiative that came out. So we got a lot of people to go along with this concept, and I will say it was worth it because the number of people we had on each night was about the same, and the crowds were different. The crowd on the Tuesday was different in terms of what they were interested in compared to the crowd on Thursday, and having all those tables allowed you to really get deep into some of the information and the different elements of this project, which is a bear. It's a big project. It's a very important project for our community, so we appreciate the input, which is incredibly valuable. At this point, I'm going to move on to the new business consent agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the new business consent agenda resolutions 2025-87 to 2025-94.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-95, authorizing the payment of the bill list in the amount of $1,240,724.47.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I make a motion to adjourn.
There's been a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.